Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, kids, how's life? Is everything all right? I hope you're well. So, welcome back to yet another session of social studies with me at Roots and Wings Academy. Before we start, what do you see on your screen? Yes, we see our Indian national flag. And when do we celebrate Independence Day? Right, 15th of August. So that means we got independence from the British rule on 15th August 1947. But do you know how much struggle we went through to get this freedom? Definitely, you know, in the previous sessions, we have already seen what difficulties Indians had to go through. Let's see how India got freedom. Gandhiji said that following non-violence does not make one person coward. Only strong people can adopt this weapon of non-violence. What do you think about this? Come on, share your experience with me with an example in a audio, in not a audio, in an audio message or a video message. Send it to me on WhatsApp soon. Thank you. So before India got its freedom, we had Simon Commission. Simon Commission was set up after the partition of Bengal. The condition of India, the situation, the law and order position of India was going out of control of the Britishers. So the British appointed a commission to look into these matters in 1927. और ये जो महाशय हैं सर जॉन साइमन साइमन was called and he was the head of Simon Commission. लेकिन there was a problem with the Simon Commission. There was no Indian in this commission, and this angered the Congress. It decided to boycott it. Boycott it means no cooperation with it, no support for it, nothing. When the commission came to India, it was greeted with the slogan, Simon, go back. Simon, wapas jao. Simon, come on, repeat it. Simon, go back. Simon, wapas jao. So here's the slogans hote hain. Slogans have power. Slogans can change the movement. Slogans can give you new direction. Do you know any other such slogan? Think over it and message me. After the Simon Commission, Simon जब fail हो गया, after that in 1929, Jawaharlal Nehru, who was the president of that session of Indian National Congress, he was selected as the president at that time. The organization's main aim was to achieve Purn Swaraj. This is Jawaharlal Nehru, as you see. And that session, they decided to achieve Purn Swaraj or complete freedom. अब तो हमें full freedom चाहिए, अब there is no compromise. It encouraged Gandhi ji to lead the civil disobedience movement. तो गांधी जी ने क्या किया? He started civil disobedience movement. As the word itself tells you, civil means of the public, with the government. Disobedience, nafarmani, they will not listen to the government at all. They will not listen to the British government this time. So the objective क्यों करे थे? The objective of this movement was to disobey any law issued by the government. कौन सी government? Indian government? No, at that time there was no Indian government. There was the British government. So British government अगर कोई भी कानून बनाती है, so that law will not be obeyed. उसका पालन नहीं किया जाएगा. It will be rejected, and they would demand for Purn Swaraj. To begin the movement, Gandhiji decided to break the salt law. अब सॉल्ट लॉ क्या है? सॉल्ट लॉ की एक अपनी अलग हिस्ट्री है कि ब्रिटिशर्स ने एक्स्ट्रा टैक्सेस लगा दिए थे सॉल्ट पर. So the British had made this law to prevent Indians from making salt. कि इंडियंस को सॉल्ट बनाने से ही रोक देते हैं. Salt is a very important daily commodity that we use in our houses. और सॉल्ट पर भी पाबंदी, मतलब इतनी छोटी चीज पर भी इफ यू आर गोइंग टू हैव टैक्सेस और प्रिवेंशंस और वेरियस रूल्स फॉर डूइंग बेसिक नीड्स, बेसिक थिंग्स, then life becomes difficult. That's why on March 12, 1930, Gandhiji along with his followers, ये जो इनके followers थे, set off from the Sabarmati ashram to the coastal village of Dandi. अब डांडी में क्यों गए थे? Because डांडी में there was some beach. Gandhiji broke the law by picking up a handful of salt from the beach. बीच के पास से उन्होंने they picked up some salt, ऐसा मुट्ठी भर salt उठाए, and he told everyone to boycott foreign goods, and following the footsteps of Gandhiji, they decided they will go for the civil disobedience movement.
Though salt was a free gift of nature, the British had passed a law that only the government had the right to make salt. If anyone else made salt, the person was jailed for 6 months. A heavy tax was also levied on salt. Poor people who made their own salt shut down their salt works. Gandhiji decided to break the salt law. Along with his followers, he marched from Sabarmati ashram to the seaside at Dandi in the Surat district. Covering 388 kilometers in 24 days, Gandhiji reached Dandi on April 6, 1930, and picked up a handful of salt as a symbolic protest against the salt law. Important leaders like Gandhiji, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Rajaji were arrested, but the British could not end the civil disobedience.
And these are one or two words answers, and I think you can do it fairly well. Why was the Simon Commission appointed? Because the law and order condition of the country was not in control of Britishers at that time. And who presided over the Indian National Congress in 1929? 29 में कौन थे? Yes, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And what was the main aim of the Congress at that time? Purna Swaraj. Now, after this, in 1939, it so happened that there was World War. World War means it was not in India. Majorly, it was in Europe. But the Britishers were a major part. They played an active part in that Second World War. Second World War is very famous for a big dictator, Hitler. Now, the Second World War broke out in 1939, and the British had to join the war in 1942. 1942 में Britishers भी join कर लिए, and without any discussion with Indian leaders, British ने ये announce कर दिया कि इंडिया के जो soldiers हैं, Indian soldiers would also join them in that war. अब बताओ, what is the relationship of India and that war? There was nothing, no direct relation. But Britishers, as they were ruling India, they took their call and they announced that Indians would go to war with Germany, with the opposite parties of British, and without even asking the British, the Indian leaders. इससे क्या हुआ भैया? This angered the Indians and they refused to participate in the war. उन्होंने साफ मना कर दिया, नहीं, you have not taken permission from our leaders. So Indians refused to participate in the war. In August 1942, Congress under the leadership of Gandhiji began Quit India movement. अब मौका आ गया था. British were already busy in the Second World War. तो ये सही मौका था to end the British rule in India. So Gandhiji was a very visionary leader. उन्होंने देखा, he saw that the opportunity was very good. He quickly started Quit India movement, Bharat Chodo Andolan. Every Indian joined the movement. He encouraged people to support this movement and fight till the British left India. बहुत सारे लोगों ने सपोर्ट किया, एंड ही ऑल्सो गेव द फेमस स्लोगन डू और डाई. Just imagine a person like Gandhi ji, who was so famous for his non-violence, वो ऑर्डर दे रहा है, वो फेमस स्लोगन दे रहा है, डू और डाई. सो जस्ट इमेजिन कि सिचुएशन कितनी कंट्रोल के बाहर हो चुकी थी. The Britishers were torturing Indians. That's why, after lots of patience and lots of troubles, Gandhiji gave us the famous slogan, do or die. And at that time, the British government arrested many freedom fighters, including Gandhiji, including Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, then Sarhadi Gandhi. Sarhadi Gandhi किसे कहा जाता है जानते हैं? Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was in the jail even before that. And the Britishers tried to suppress the movement. उन्होंने कोशिश की to suppress it, but बात नहीं बनी.
The Quit India movement. In 1942, Gandhiji and the Congress passed the Quit India resolution, in which they demanded immediate British withdrawal from India. Gandhiji told the Indian people, "We shall do or die. We shall either free India or die in the attempt." Gandhiji, Nehru, and almost all the Congress leaders were imprisoned. The people reacted immediately through protests, hartals, and processions, even though they all faced lathi charges, gunfire, or arrests. Though powerful, the British could not break the spirit of the Indian people.
This was the time when Subhash Chandra Bose emerged as a strong freedom fighter. He led the Indian National Army, INA, or the Azad Hind Fauj, to fight the British in 1942. Same time में देखिए, Britishers are at war with Germany in the World War. यहाँ पर गांधी जी started Quit India movement. जेल में डालना शुरू किया जाता है. सेम टाइम पे सुभाष चंद्र बोस आते हैं. ही वॉज एन आर्मी मैन. उन्होंने कहा नहीं, अब नहीं चलेगी, इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी बनती है. एंड द मोटो ऑफ द इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी वाज यूनिटी, फेथ एंड सैक्रिफाइस. यूनिटी, हम साथ साथ हैं. फेथ, यू नीड टू बिलीव इन समथिंग, यू नीड टू बिलीव इन योर गॉड. एंड सैक्रिफाइस, you need to sacrifice something to achieve a bigger goal. You need to sacrifice your lives so that other people in the whole country would live happily. Its aim was to secure India's independence from the British rule. British rule के against में उन्होंने ये शुरू किया था, and they wanted complete freedom. और उनका भी एक famous slogan था, जय हिंद, जो आज तक हिंदुस्तानी भारतवासी even these days they especially in the army they salute each other with the slogan Jai Hind Shriman. And do you know that Indian National Army had a women's regiment known as the Rani Jhansi Regiment, specially for women. After the end of the Second World War in 1945, the British realized that they could no longer suppress the freedom movement. अब यहाँ पर क्या हुआ था? Already British का बहुत नुकसान हुआ था in the Second World War that happened in Europe. जर्मनी के साथ में लड़ते लड़ते they were drained out, बहुत नुकसान हुआ. And finally they agreed to leave India and transfer all the powers of the government to the Indians. ये लो भैया, तुम तुम्हारा देश संभालो. We have already looted you for 200 years. 200 साल तक तुमको लूट लिया है. Now we have no interest in you. अब हम जा रहे. अस्सलाम वालेकुम. In February 1947, The British government declared the ruling power would be transferred to the Indians by June 1948. Lord Mountbatten जो थे, he came to India as the last viceroy to prepare a plan for the transfer of power. Gandhiji can be seen with Lord Mountbatten in this picture. तो उन्होंने पूरा का पूरा प्लान बनाया how the government should be handed over to the Indians. And the British decided to divide the country into two parts. This was a very tragic part of India कि एक साइड में मुसलमान शिफ्ट करें, एक साइड में हिंदूज को शिफ्ट करें. हिंदू और मुसलमान के बेसिस पे they divided the country into India and Pakistan. India got independence on 15th August 1947. Jawaharlal Nehru became the first Prime Minister and Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the first President of India, independent India. And this man, Abul Kalam Azad, he was the first Education Minister of India. ये जो ग्रे पोर्शंस देख रहे हैं आप, these grey portions, they were not part of any country at that time. They were not India, they were not Pakistan. बाद में after some time उसकी एक अलग history है that these 3-4 places, Kashmir, Kalat, Hyderabad and Sikkim, they joined either India or Pakistan. Kalat ने पाकिस्तान ज्वाइन किया, कश्मीर, हैदराबाद एंड सिक्किम दे जॉइंड इंडिया. So these are true or false questions. Subhash Chandra Bose led the Indian National Navy. Is it true or false? Was he a part of Navy or Army? And did it happen in 1941 or 1942? True or false? The Second World War broke out in 1939. I hope you can do these true or false. These are pretty easy. Now, what is a timeline? Timeline ये होती है that you need to put the incidents which happened first, then later, then later, then later. This is a sample timeline for Indian freedom struggle. Right from the first meeting of Indian National Congress in 1885 that you saw 2 chapters back, तब से लेकर अभी तक till 1947, this is the timeline. I want you to make your own timeline reading 2 chapters. It's raining here. Reading 2 chapters, chapter number 3 and chapter number 4. उसके dates को निकालो, sort them out, write on a page and then draw a timeline, beautiful timeline. Alright. Then Shahid Bhagat Singh, he was one of the most influential freedom fighters who played an important role in India's freedom struggle. He bravely fought for independence and sacrificed his life for the nation. इनके साथ में 2 और लोगों को फांसी चढ़ाया गया था. I want you to find out the names of these 3 people. One of them was Shahid Bhagat Singh, and who were the other 2? Find it out. So that's it. It brings us to the end of India Wins Freedom. With the help of several freedom movements, India got its freedom in 1947. Simon Commission was established in 1929. और इसका नतीजा ये निकला that civil disobedience movement was started in 1929. Civil disobedience started with Gandhiji and his followers going to Dandi March in 1930. Quit India movement was launched by Gandhiji in 1942 as at that time the Britishers were fighting war with Germany in the World War II. Gandhiji gave the famous slogan "Do or Die." Subhash Chandra Bose emerged as the new leader of Indian freedom movement in 1942. He led the Indian National Army in 1942 and he gave the slogan Jai Hind. Why did the British feel that they could not suppress the Indian freedom movement? Think over it. Think what role the World War played into this. Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, Rajguru were revolutionary freedom fighters. इन्होंने क्या किया था? how they fought for India's independence. Find it out and write a short paragraph about it. This is iLink and iObserve sessions. You need to draw and make something with the information about India's freedom struggle. Then find out who founded the Indian National Army and the role of Subhash Chandra Bose. Indian National Army to lead कर रहे थे Subhash Chandra Bose, but who founded Indian National Army? Was it Subhash Chandra Bose himself or was it someone else? Think over it and find more details on it. Alright, so these are the slogans: do or die, Jai Hind, Inqilab, Zindabad. Even today we use this slogan. तो ये slogans क्यों होते हैं? Can you write more slogans? Can you add some more slogans in this list? And how do you feel when you say these slogans out loud? आप जोर से अगर बोलेंगे इनकलाब, जिंदाबाद तो बोलिए, इनकलाब. So how do you feel when you say these slogans out loud? Inqilab! I'm sorry to shout like this, but slogans are said like this only. So thank you for listening to me, guys. Thank you for studying with me, and happy learning. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.